Happy New Year, everybody. Now let's talk about Kanye West's masterpiece, My Beautiful Dark Twisted. Wait, I've talked about that album once, twice, maybe 3 times on here. So actually, let's go a little bit more obscure with Danny Brown and Triple X. Well, there's this French downtempo dream pop album from the 90s called Moon Safari that I come here today seeking forgiveness for talking about Kanye West way too often, and Danny Brown and Moon Safari, also Chase Segley, Phoebe Bridgers, and whatever else. I am trying to seek help and put in the work to become a better YouTube music guy. So today, to celebrate new beginnings, we're gonna do something that I think will be pretty fun. Everybody has their go-to favorite albums that they could write a 10-page, double-spaced, MLA-formatted book report on. But what about the projects that go beyond that? It may or may not surprise you that these albums do not completely encapsulate my musical diet. I love them infinitely, and it's clearly very easy for me to talk about them, but today, I want you to get to know me on a bit more of a personal level. In this video, I'll be detailing 10 of my favorite albums to give you a full range of what I love in this world of music, and it's all stuff that I have not babbled on and on about within the channel before. Maybe a small mention here or there, but nothing too in-depth. Please flood the comments on this, your Instagram stories, Twitter, TikTok feeds, and whatever else with your own versions. Tag me and tell me the albums that mean a lot to you that might not come into conversation too often. While a lot of you follow me for my music recommendations, to really get to know me, you need to know what I look for in deodorants and self-care products. That all starts with today's sponsor, Native. Native provides not only a vegan and cruelty-free deodorant, but it's also aluminum-free and paraben-free as well. These non-sticky, quick-drying deodorants have me feeling fresh, clean, and it's comforting being familiar with the ingredients on the back, like coconut oil and shea butter. I've been using the cherry and vanilla macaron. It's nice and sweet, oat milk latte is very soothing, and my personal favorite, coconut and vanilla, which is bright and inviting. But there's a wide range of these odor-protecting, simple scents too. You can also go with a plastic-free version, same formula, with more sustainable packaging. Not to mention the new limited edition collection with Baked by Melissa, inspired by cupcakes, that'll add a sweet aroma to your day. The tie-dye vanilla cupcake body wash has me excited to get in the shower every morning. 3 deodorants would be $39, but if you use my link and code ALPHO, you'll get them for $26. That's over 33% off. With my code, you can also get 20% off any body wash or toothpaste. Arthur Russell is one of my biggest creative influences, and the compilation album Another Thought is this one-of-a-kind window into pure creativity. A year or two after this unique genius of a musician tragically died of AIDS, this project was carefully pieced together by producers and friends of Arthur. He had left behind hundreds of hours of demo tapes, and this was the first of many posthumous releases. Albums getting dropped after the death of an artist is a touchy subject, and deservedly so, but the sad yet fascinating thing with Arthur is that a vast majority of his music has come after his untimely passing. It's a classic story of virtuoso, decades ahead of his time, mainly ignored during his life, and then wildly celebrated and inspirational after death. Another Thought is a wonderful introduction to what this human being was capable of. Generally, it can be described as an art pop album, but trying to grasp exactly what this music is, that's difficult to put into words. Arthur was an elite cello player, an electronic composer, trained in Indian classical music that loved disco and experimenting with everything he touched along the way. There is no one else in the history of the world that fits this weird, beautiful combination of influences and skill. There will only ever be one Arthur Russell, and Another Thought is this endearing, romantic representation of him. A Little Lost is one of my all-time favorite songs. It's like a warm hug for those who feel alone and confused. And then This Is How We Walk on the Moon is timeless. It keeps building onto itself, and the arrangement here is godlike. Minimalist, kinda funky, and just absolutely gorgeous. Blu Exile's Below the Heavens was probably my pre-Alpha Media go-to album recommendation that the average person might not know. I used to listen to this like weekly back in the day, and it's funny writing about it now because hip-hop was in a very different place in the mid-2000s. The main thing that I want to emphasize here is the mood and vibe that comes across through these beats and lyrics. Everybody is chronically online now. We're going on season 3 of a worldwide pandemic. Self-deprecation is at an all-time high. But in August of 2007, Blu Exile were spreading conscious, genuinely feel-good rap music. There's a sense of optimism and joy all across Below the Heavens that is unabashedly real. You don't feel like somebody's trying to sell you something via a tactical TikTok marketing campaign generated by a corporate algorithm. This music is sincere and a very good time. And I don't even mean that every verse is good vibes only, live, laugh, love, etc. Even though it can be spiritual, it's never preachy. There can be lyrics about struggling and having problems, but the soulful beats from Exile and Blu's uplifting outlook feel so authentic. He means every word on this thing. Favorite songs are Dancing in the Rain, First Things First, the two-parted title track, and there are many more. Highly recommend this to just about anyone looking for a taste of catchy nostalgia. An album I've been obsessed with recently is Mercurial World by Magdalena Bay. This synth-pop debut is a well-produced collection of smooth, playful bangers. You're grooving your way through this seductive, hazy dream world, and it's a blast. I'm not gonna say that they're reinventing the wheel here, but the energy that this group has accumulated does feel special. By way of a Y2K aesthetic, we get electronic, pop, and R&B blended together, and it's a very enjoyable listen from start to finish. I liked this project when I first heard it a few months ago, but it's been growing on me with each and every listen. Within the past few weeks, I've been strongly connecting with the ins and outs of these instrumentals. Whether it's a growing distortion, weird little beep-boop digital sound effects in the background, or these random noises that I can't even specifically make out, this aspect is what fully sells you on the atmosphere, the feeling of Mercurial World. It's hypnotic music to get lost in, but also anthemic enough to sing along to. I love You Lose and The Beginning, but Secret's Your Fire is one of the very best songs of 2021, in my opinion. Do you ever just sit there and think to yourself, how did Frank Ocean make Endless? I love this man's whole discography, but when it comes down to it, this album does not share an equal space in the spotlight. Nostalgia Ultra holds a sentimental place for many of us because that was the introduction to Frank. Channel Orange won a Grammy and featured a couple of big songs. Blonde was his ascension to being regarded as one of the greatest artistic minds of this time. But Endless is that weird visual album that he made to screw over Def Jam. But that's a gross underestimation of how good these songs are. Internet commenters dismiss this as Blonde B-sides, and I don't think that could be further from the truth. Blonde is without a doubt the more cohesive project, with logical steps from one track to the next, and that narrative is the memorable one when you're comparing the two. But dare I say that Endless has a higher concentration of good musical moments. These aren't Blonde B-sides, these songs just didn't quite fit in that package. You've got Johnny Greenwood's ridiculous strings on At Your Best You Are Love, the Sampha and Jasmine Sullivan outro on Alabama. Comme des Garçons is probably the best song under a minute long ever made. Slide on Me is one of Frank's catchiest tracks ever, and I could go on and on. Have you heard Rushes? Have you heard Higgs? Mitsubishi Sony? You're gonna look at me in my eyes through this YouTube video right now and tell me these aren't some of the best songs in Frank Ocean's discography? Justice for Endless. It absolutely rips. You know how you'll be meeting a mutual friend for the first time and you're like, what kind of music do you listen to? And they say, oh, anything but country, ha ha ha, and then both of you laugh and say, yeah, country sucks, it's the death of art. No. Next time you hear someone say that classic line, hand them a copy of Car Wheels on a Gravel Road by Lucinda Williams. Country music as a concept rocks. Real everyday people dramatizing their everyday lives and writing the saddest, most romantic songs you'll ever hear. That can be fantastic, but what country music eventually devolved into does not rock.
My truck.
Lucinda Williams is not some lizard person pretending to be a good old country boy like Blake Shelton. She is an actual human being. With emotional scars, a raw voice, and confessional lyrics, this is transparency in music. This is storytelling. This is getting to know someone through their songs. We get topics like addiction, broken relationships, incarceration, family, the places she's been, and where she might end up in the future. People joke about romanticizing your life and being the main character, but I think this album is a legitimately great guide to actually living day to day. You can fall into the mundane, routine-oriented nature of the world around you, or you can truly live. This Americana / folk / alt-rock / blues is what I personally believe country should be. If you're skeptical about listening to this, check out Drunken Angel first. I always come back to it. While one could argue that there's plenty of melodrama in this list already, I always need a little bit more. There we go. I am now going to try and convince you that 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance fits perfectly with every album that I've discussed so far. There's a tender and sensitive feeling of longing like On Another Thought. MCR are very much themselves, and they clearly have fun making their art, like Blu and Exile. You've got a few passionate sing-alongs like Mercurial World. Gerard and Frank are both fearless visionaries in their own right. And then we're gonna say that the lyrical goals of these 2 records are practically the same. Dye Lucinda's hair black, get cowboy hats on MCR, and you won't be able to tell the difference. What these guys bring to the table that I desperately need on this list is pure theatrics. We're embracing as much cringe as possible in 2022. We're screaming while holding the casket of a loved one. We're equating our heartbreak to World War II. We're looking straight into the camera like Jim from The Office and saying stuff like,
Trust me.
3 Cheers is all killer, no filler. Vaudevillian slapper after vaudevillian slapper. Once you let go of any preconceived notions based on aesthetics, it's hard to find a single issue with this album. The more you give into the drama of it all, the quicker you realize that hyperbole is a super effective way to tell an emotional story. Getting this up close and personal with death, breakups, anxiety, mania, and so on, that's when you're able to get the bigger picture. That's when you go full galaxy brain and see the dark humor and fun in a project that comes across on the surface as extremely depressing. I like telling this anecdote about how when I'm in a sad mood, I listen to the most outrageous tearjerker songs that I can get my hands on, and by the end of a car ride with the radio at full volume, I'm singing along at the top of my lungs and having the time of my life. This album fits that anecdote to a T. Helena, You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison, I'm Not Okay, The Ghost of You, Thank You for the Venom, I Never Told You What I Do for a Living, all terrific. To wrap things up, I want to give you an example of something that might sound very, very stupid. I like when people are good at making songs. Yeah, that was bad. What I'm trying to explain translates well within pop music. I don't even necessarily like Shape of You by Ed Sheeran all that much, but boy, is it a song, you know? Ed, those writers and producers, they made that, and it is very much a song. Feel free to unsubscribe if it seems like my brain is falling apart right now. But this weird X-Factor feeling of when an artist makes a track that fits so snugly into its genre and place in the world, this dumb concept hits me in many different styles and sounds. One More Time by Daft Punk, that's a song. Juicy by Biggie, that didn't exist and then he created it. That's crazy. Benny King's Stand By Me. How did he do that? For anyone that's actually following this train of thought right now, what's a contemporary R&B album that has several of these memorable songs that were instantly definitive of their subgenre, the kind of music that's universal, feels effortless, and is so good at what it is? Drumroll, please. My answer is Ctrl by SZA. It's not incredibly unique, nothing too revolutionary, but at the same time, it so clearly stands out from 90% of the projects in that space. Other people probably could have made this, but she's the one that did make this. Supermodel, Drew Barrymore, The Weeknd, Go Gina, Broken Clocks, 20-something, those are songs. Songs that should make other R&B, neo-soul, and pop singers jealous that they didn't come up with them. Great performances from SZA across this whole thing, lovely, catchy melodies, insanely accessible and easy to listen to, vulnerable, honest lyrics, just delightful stuff. So yes, while this collage would technically be correct if you're looking for the kind of stuff that I'm into, it doesn't say a whole lot about me. This, on the other hand, even though it's all albums that I haven't really talked about in 200 plus videos, this is what I'd show someone to get to know me and my taste. I challenge you to do the same. Think about the albums that are special to you and your love of music that you don't already talk about all the time. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I'll see you soon. Hey, thank you for watching that video. I appreciate all the support within the past year. 2022 is going to be big for the channel, I already know it. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.